I have chosen someone for you. Their name is already written into the path I have laid beneath your feet. You have not seen it yet, but your spirit has begun to sense it. There is a reason your heart has been restless in ways you could not explain. There is a reason certain prayers kept rising from a place deeper than your thoughts could reach. I was stirring something. I was preparing you. Do not turn away from what I am about to speak into your life. This is not a passing moment. It is not something you will hear again in this same way. I am drawing near to you now because you are standing at the edge of a doorway that has been forming long before you noticed it. What waits on the other side is real. What waits on the other side carries weight, and it has your name on it as much as it has theirs. I know you have wondered. I know the silence in your nights has sometimes felt heavier than you let anyone see. You have carried questions about whether a lasting connection would ever find its way to you, or whether you would always be the one left standing on the outside of something you longed for. I have not been absent from those moments. I was present in every one of them, and I was already building the answer, even while you were still forming the question. The person I am speaking of is not a stranger to my plan. They are not someone who wandered into your future by accident. I placed them in the design of your life long before either of you understood it. And when your paths cross, there will be something inside you that knows. Something quiet, something certain, something that does not need to shout to be believed. It will rise in your chest like a breath you did not know you were holding. And the release of it will feel like the most natural thing you have ever experienced. Declare your faith now if this word has reached your spirit. You may have wondered why certain things did not work out. You may have replayed moments in your mind, searching for what went wrong, asking yourself if you could have done something differently. I want you to hear this clearly. Those endings were not punishments. They were protections. I closed those doors because what stood behind them would not have held you the way you needed to be held. I did not remove those connections to leave you empty. I removed them to make room. And now, that room is being filled, not with something fragile, not with something uncertain, but with something that has been tested in my hands before it ever reaches yours. This person has walked through their own fires. They have carried their own questions. And the very things that shape them are the things that will allow them to meet you where you are, without flinching, without turning away. I did not design this connection for comfort alone. I designed it for purpose. When you stand together, something will shift, not just in your heart, but in the direction of your life. You will look back at the roads you have walked, the valleys you thought would break you, and you will see a line that runs through all of it, a single thread pulling you toward this very moment. This is not something I do lightly. I do not arrange lives on a whim. Every encounter, every loss, every season of quiet endurance has been a brushstroke on a larger work. And now that work is nearing completion. Not the end of your story, but the beginning of a chapter that will redefine the ones before it. I know your instinct may be to guard yourself. I know that trust does not come easily after what you have carried. But hear me when I say this. What I am bringing to you now is not built from the same materials that failed you before. This is different ground, and the foundation has already been tested. Stay with me. There is more I need to say to you, and what comes next will settle things in your spirit that have been unsettled for far too long. The name that belongs to this person is not something you will need to chase. It will come to you. It will arrive in a way that makes your spirit pause, not with fear, but with a recognition so deep it will feel as though you have always known it, even when your mind tells you otherwise. You have been asking for a sign. You have been whispering prayers into the dark, hoping something would answer back with clarity instead of silence. I am answering now. Not all at once, because that is not how I work. I reveal things the way dawn breaks, gradually, gently, until what was hidden becomes impossible to miss. Do not rush ahead of what I am doing. Do not try to manufacture a result before the ground is ready. There is a difference between being eager and being impatient, and I need you on the side of trust. What is yours will not pass you by. I am guiding it directly to you, but the timing is mine, and the timing is precise. I have watched you move through seasons where you gave more than you received. I have seen how carefully you held on to hope, even when nothing around you seemed to justify it. That was not foolishness. That was the mark of a spirit that still believes, despite everything. And that belief has not gone unnoticed. It has been weighed, and it has been honored, and it is the very thing that has brought you here, to this exact place where what I am building is about to become visible. So listen closely. Let nothing around you pull your attention from what I am speaking. What I have set aside for you is already in motion, and the name attached to it is closer than you think. There is a reason I am not showing you the full picture all at once. If I laid everything before you in a single moment, you would try to control it. You would grip it with both hands and shape it according to your understanding. But your understanding, as honest as it may be, is still limited by what you have already lived through. I see further. I see the full arc of what this is meant to become, and I am asking you to walk with me into it, one step at a time. This person I have chosen for your life is not walking the same road you have walked before. They carry something different, not in the way the world measures difference, but in the way your spirit will feel it. There will be a steadiness about them that does not waver when pressure comes, and that steadiness is not something they manufactured. It is something I built into them through everything they have endured. You will notice it in the way they speak to you. Not loud, not performing, but measured and honest. You will notice it in how they hold space for your silence without rushing to fill it. And you will notice it in the way your own breathing slows when you are near them, as though something inside you has finally been given permission to rest. That is not coincidence. That is design. I want you to understand something about the way I bring people together. I do not match surfaces. I do not pair what looks compatible on the outside and leave the inside to chance. I go deeper. I look at the fractures, the longings, the places where strength was forged through suffering, and I align those hidden contours with someone whose own shape fits the spaces you carry. This is why it will feel different. This is why it will feel right in a way nothing before it ever did. Say it aloud. Say, I believe, if your heart is receiving what I am telling you. There have been connections in your past that drained you. You gave freely, and what came back was silence, or confusion, or words that did not match actions. You learned to read people carefully because trust had cost you before. I watched that happen. I saw the walls go up. I did not condemn you for building them. But now I am asking you to let me walk through them, because what I am bringing requires an open gate, not a locked one. This does not mean you abandon wisdom. It means you allow trust to lead where fear once stood guard. I am not asking you to be reckless. I am asking you to be willing. There is a wide distance between the two, and I need you standing on the side of willingness. The gate does not need to swing wide open all at once. It simply needs to be unlocked, and my hand is already on the latch. The name that is approaching will arrive without force. You will not have to search for it. It will appear in your awareness the way a word surfaces when you have been trying to remember something for days, and then suddenly, without effort, it is there. That is how I move. I do not impose. I reveal. And what I reveal carries the weight of certainty, because it was never uncertain to begin with. Pay attention to what repeats. Pay attention to what keeps returning to your thoughts when you have not invited it. This is not your mind playing tricks. This is me pointing. I leave markers on your path the same way a river cuts marks into stone, not with violence but with patience, over time, until the shape is unmistakable. You are closer to this than you think. And the distance between where you are and where this connection begins is not measured in months or years. It is measured in readiness. When your heart reaches the place I have been preparing it for, the door will open. Not slowly, not halfway, fully. There is something else I want to address, because I know it sits in the back of your mind even when you try to push it aside. You have wondered whether you deserve this. You have looked at your own history and questioned whether someone like you could receive something this significant. I need you to hear me clearly. Your past does not disqualify you. The mistakes you have made do not erase what I have written for your future. I do not hold those things over you. I have already released them. The question is whether you will release them too. Let go of the verdict you have placed on yourself. It does not carry my signature. I never wrote it. And it has no authority over what I am about to do in your life. You are worthy of this, not because you earned it, but because I declared it. And what I declare does not bend to the opinions of those who do not know the full story. This person will not come to you asking for proof of your worth. They will not weigh your past on a scale and decide whether you measure up. That is not how I designed them to see you. They will look at you the way I do, with understanding that goes beneath the surface, with a patience that does not flinch at what is honest and imperfect. And in that space between two people who are not pretending, something real will take root. I am telling you this now because the ground is almost ready. What has been tilled in secret is about to break through into the open. And when it does, I do not want you standing at a distance, watching from a place of hesitation. I want you close. I want you present. I want you ready to receive it with open hands instead of folded arms. The time for standing back has ended. The time for stepping forward has arrived. You have spent long stretches of time making yourself smaller so that others could feel comfortable. You have bent your words, softened your needs, and swallowed your own voice to keep the peace in places that were never peaceful to begin with. I saw all of it. I saw the cost. And I am telling you now that the person I am bringing into your life will not require you to shrink. They will not ask you to hold back the fullness of who you are. They will not need you to perform a version of yourself that is easier to manage. When you speak, they will listen. When you are still, they will stay. That is what it looks like when I arrange a connection rather than leave it to chance. There is something in you that already recognizes this truth. You can feel it stirring beneath the doubt, beneath the questions, beneath the habit of guarding yourself from disappointment. That stirring is not anxiety. It is anticipation. Your spirit knows what your mind has not yet caught up with. And that is why I am asking you to trust what you feel, even before you can explain it. My child, I am asking you to place a portion of what you have, something of real weight, upon the altar of this work. as gold laid on the scales of this calling. Let it be a seed sown into deep water, an offering set on stone, not held back in fear. This is proof that your trust rests in my hand to provide, and that your heart no longer clings to lack. What you release in faith does not leave your life. It moves ahead of you, into the harvest I am preparing. I have been working in places you could not see. Behind the closed doors, beneath the failed conversations, within the silence that sometimes felt like abandonment, I was there. I was not standing idle. I was removing what needed to be removed and strengthening what needed to remain. Your life is not random. The people who left were not losses without logic. They were departures I permitted because their season was complete. And this new season, the one you are stepping into now, requires a different kind of foundation. It requires two people who have been refined, rather than two people who have simply found each other by accident. That is the difference between what I build and what the world offers. What I build holds. What I build endures. And what I am building between you and this person is meant to last beyond the first season of difficulty, beyond the first disagreement, beyond the first moment when the initial wonder settles into the rhythm of daily life. You may feel a shift in the coming days. It may be subtle at first. A name that catches your attention, a face that stays in your memory longer than it should, a conversation that lingers hours after it ends. These are not distractions. These are markers. I place them in your path so that when the full picture becomes clear, you will remember that I was pointing toward it all along. Do not dismiss what feels significant. Do not explain away the moments that make your spirit pause. Those pauses are not accidents. They are invitations to look closer, to listen more carefully, to pay attention in ways you have not been accustomed to paying attention. I am sharpening your awareness because what is coming requires you to recognize it when it arrives. And recognition requires a spirit that is awake, not dulled by distraction or clouded by cynicism. There is a difference between hoping for something and being positioned to receive it. Hope is important, but position is essential. I have been moving you into position without your awareness. The internal shifts you have experienced, the changing priorities, the fading interest in things that once consumed you, all of that is part of my repositioning. You are being aligned, and alignment is not comfortable. It requires the release of things you have held tightly. But what waits on the other side of that release is worth more than what you are being asked to let go. I promise you that. Not with empty words, but with the full authority of everything I am. What I am bringing into your life will prove itself in time. And it will not require you to defend it or justify it. It will stand on its own. I know you are listening. I know something inside you has not moved from this moment. That is because this word was not meant to pass over you lightly. It was meant to land, and it has landed. Now hold on to it. Do not let the noise of tomorrow drown out what I have spoken to you here and now. The ground beneath your feet is shifting, and that is not cause for alarm. It is cause for readiness. When a field has been plowed and watered, the shift in the soil is not destruction. It is the beginning of growth. That is what is happening in your life right now. I have been turning the earth of your heart, breaking up the hard places, softening what had become rigid through disappointment. And now something new is pushing through. You cannot see the full shape of it yet, but you can feel the pressure of it rising. That quiet insistence that something is about to change, that is not wishful thinking. That is my hand at work beneath the surface. And I do not plant what I do not intend to bring to harvest. So stay anchored in what I have spoken. Let it hold you when the waiting feels long. Let it steady you when doubt tries to convince you that nothing is happening. Something is happening, and it is closer than the space between one breath and the next. There is also this. The person whose name is approaching has already been marked by my hand. They do not know the full scope of what I am doing, just as you do not know the full scope. But they have felt the same stirring. They have sensed that something is shifting in their own life, even if they cannot name it. Both of you are being drawn toward the same invisible center, and that center is my purpose for your lives together. My child, I need to speak to you about the weight of impatience, because it is one of the greatest enemies of what I am building. You have lived in a world that rewards speed. Everything around you moves quickly, and you have been trained to believe that if something does not happen fast, it is not happening at all. But I do not work on that timeline. My movements are deliberate. My arrangements are exact. And what I am setting in motion for you cannot be rushed without being reduced. When the name arrives, it will not come wrapped in urgency or panic. It will come wrapped in calm. And that calm will be your signal. When something I am orchestrating reaches you, it does not arrive with anxiety. It arrives with a stillness that tells you this is real. This is settled. This is mine. Learn to distinguish between the two, because the world will offer you many things that feel exciting, but carry no substance. What I am giving you carries both weight and peace. This person I have set apart for you has their own rhythm, their own pace, their own way of moving through the world. And that rhythm will not always match yours at first. But that is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that two distinct journeys are being woven into one, and the weaving requires patience. You will not merge overnight. You will not understand each other completely from the first conversation. But with each honest exchange, with each moment of vulnerability, held with care, something strong will form between you. I am not giving you a finished product. I am giving you a partnership that will be shaped over time. And the shaping will require effort, but it will not require exhaustion. There is a difference between working to build something meaningful and struggling to keep something alive that was never meant to survive. This connection will not feel like survival. It will feel like growth. You have known the difference before. You have been in rooms where you felt the air leaving your lungs, where every word you spoke was measured against the risk of it being misunderstood or used against you. That is not what is coming. What is coming will feel like walking into open air after being inside a closed room for too long. You will breathe differently. You will speak differently. Not because you are pretending, but because for the first time in a long time, you will feel safe enough to be unguarded. I know what safety means to you. I know it is not a word you use lightly. You have been in places where safety was promised, but never delivered, where the people who should have been safe became the source of your deepest wounds. I am aware of all of that, and I am telling you now, what I am arranging is not a repetition of that pattern. It is the breaking of it. This person will not hold power over you. They will not use your vulnerability as a tool. They will meet your honesty with their own. And in that exchange, something will grow that neither of you could have built alone. That is the nature of what I design. It does not diminish either person. It multiplies both. You may wonder how you will know for certain. You may worry that your judgment has been wrong before and could be wrong again. I understand that fear, but listen to me. Your judgment was limited before because you were operating without my guidance in those moments. This time is different. I am walking ahead of you. I am clearing the path before you even set foot on it. The clarity you need will not come from overanalyzing every detail. It will come from a deep, settled peace that does not argue with itself. When you feel that peace, you will know, and you will not need anyone else to confirm it for you. I will be the confirmation. My presence in the moment will be unmistakable. Do not look for perfection in this person. Perfection is not what I promised, and it is not what you need. What you need is someone who is willing to show up day after day with honesty and intention. Someone whose imperfections do not threaten you, but instead remind you that realness has always been more valuable than appearances. That is what I am giving you. Not a flawless person, but a faithful one. And faithfulness, true faithfulness, is rarer than you know. It is not something the world teaches well, but it is something I have planted in this person through seasons of their own difficulty. They have learned what it costs to stay when leaving is easier, and that knowledge will shape the way they stand beside you. There will be moments in this connection where the old wounds try to speak louder than the new truth. Old habits of suspicion, of second-guessing, of bracing for impact. When those moments come, and they will come, do not let them rule you. Acknowledge them, then set them down. They belong to a chapter that is closing. They do not have a seat at the table I am preparing. I am not only building something between you and this person, I am rebuilding something within you. A trust in yourself that was damaged long before any relationship failed. A belief that you are capable of being loved without conditions, without performance, without the exhausting effort of earning what should simply be given. That belief is returning. And it is returning because I am restoring it with my own hands. You will look back on this season of preparation and understand that it was not punishment disguised as waiting. It was architecture. I was laying foundations in places you could not see, running support beams through your character, pouring strength into cracks that had been left by people who handled you carelessly. None of that work was accidental. None of it was rushed. And when the structure I have been building becomes visible to you, you will know that it was worth every moment of uncertainty you endured while I was working. There is a kind of love that the world celebrates loudly, the kind that dazzles at first sight and fades within months. That is not what I am bringing you. What I am bringing moves quietly. It does not need an audience. It does not require applause or display. It proves itself in the ordinary moments, in the way someone remembers what you said 3 weeks ago and brings it up because it mattered to them, in the way they notice when your voice changes, even slightly, in the way they choose to stay in the room when the conversation gets difficult instead of walking away. That kind of love is not glamorous, but it is enduring, and it is the kind that will carry you through seasons that test everything. I do not build connections that only work when things are easy. I build connections that hold when things are hard. And that is exactly what this one is. I want you to stop measuring what is coming by what has already failed. You have a habit of using the past as a measuring stick for the future, and it has kept you smaller than you were meant to be. The past was not a preview. It was a passage. You moved through it, and it moved through you, and both of you are different now. The person you were in those moments is not the person who is standing here listening to me now. You are stronger. You are more honest with yourself. You have learned to ask harder questions and sit with uncomfortable answers. Those are not small things. Those are the markers of someone who has been shaped by fire and come through it with more clarity than they had going in. I honor that in you. And I am matching it with someone who carries the same kind of hard-won understanding. The name will not come in the way you might expect. It may arrive through a voice you were not paying attention to. It may surface in a moment so ordinary you almost let it pass, but something inside you will catch it. Something inside you will hold it, the way your hand instinctively catches something falling before your mind registers what it is. That instinct is not accidental. I placed it in you, and I sharpened it through everything you have been through. When it happens, do not fight it. Do not interrogate it until it loses its shape. Let it sit in your spirit the way rain sits on dry ground, soaking in slowly, reaching the places that need it most. Understanding does not always come instantly. Sometimes it comes in layers, and the first layer is simply this: recognition. Knowing that what you have just encountered matters. Knowing that it is not random. Knowing that something beyond your own logic has placed it directly in your awareness. I did not bring you this far to leave you guessing in the final stretch. I am a finisher. What I begin, I bring to completion. And this word I have spoken over your life is not half-formed. It is fully shaped. It is waiting for the moment when both you and this person are positioned exactly where you need to be. That moment is not far. The preparations are nearly complete. Not just on your side, but on theirs as well. They have been walking their own road of becoming, carrying their own questions, facing their own tests. And they have been faithful through it, just as you have. When two people who have been individually refined are finally brought together, the result is not fragile. It is forged. There is an image I want you to hold in your mind. Two rivers that have been flowing through separate valleys for years, each carving its own path through rock and soil. They did not know they were heading toward the same destination. They could not see each other. But the terrain was shaped so that eventually, inevitably, they would converge. And when they do, the current becomes stronger than either could have been alone. That is what I am doing with your life and theirs. Two separate journeys, each purposeful, each necessary, merging into a single current that moves with a power neither of you could have generated on your own. You will feel that power, not as force, but as flow. Not as pressure, but as momentum, and it will carry you both forward into things you have not yet imagined. I want you to understand something about what this connection will require from you. It will not ask you to perform or to earn your place, but it will ask you to be present, fully present, not hiding behind old defenses, not running through rehearsed versions of yourself, but standing openly in who you are and trusting that it is enough. That will feel unfamiliar at first. You have spent so much time curating how others see you that the thought of being simply, plainly yourself may feel like the most vulnerable thing I have ever asked of you. But it is also the most freeing. And once you taste that freedom, you will not want to go back to performing. You will wonder why you ever thought pretending was the safer option, when being known, truly known, is the only thing that ever brought you rest. There is a difference between being admired from a distance and being loved up close. And what I am giving you is the second kind. The kind that does not require you to maintain an image. The kind that holds you, even when the image falls away. I am not finished speaking. There is still more you need to hear before I am done. Stay close, keep your heart open. What I am about to say will reach into the places where your deepest questions live, and it will begin to answer them in ways you did not expect. You were not made to walk through life guessing whether you are seen. You were made to be known, deeply and without apology. And that is what I am delivering into your hands. Not a shallow mirror that shows you only what you want to see, but a steady presence that reflects back the truth of who you are. and loves what it finds there. There are seasons in your life that seem to exist only to test whether you would break. Some of those seasons felt endless, as though they had no purpose except to wear you down. But I want you to see them differently now. Those seasons were not wasted time. They were the kiln. They were the pressure that turned loose sand into something solid. And the person you became through them is the exact person who is ready for what I am now placing before you. I do not waste difficulty. I never have. Every hard season you endured was producing something inside you that comfort alone could never have built. Resilience, discernment, the ability to love without demanding proof of safety first. You may not see those qualities in yourself yet, but I see them clearly. And so will the person whose name is on its way to you. This connection will not be built on pretense. It will not be built on the versions of yourself you show the world when you are trying to impress. It will be built on truth, on the unpolished, unrehearsed version of who you really are. And that version is the one I love most. That version is the one I have been refining. Not to make you acceptable to someone else, but to help you accept yourself deeply enough that when someone truly sees you, you do not flinch. You have spent too many years flinching. You have pulled back when someone got close. You have changed the subject when conversations reached the places that mattered most. I understand why. Those places were unprotected ones, and the people who entered them did not treat them with care. But this time I am standing guard at the entrance. No one is entering those sacred spaces unless I have prepared them to honor what they find. State your agreement if you feel this truth settling in your spirit. I want to tell you something about the way this person will love you. It will not always be dramatic. It will not always be poetic, but it will be constant. And constancy is the one thing that has been missing from your life for longer than you care to admit. You have been surrounded by people who arrived with promises and departed with excuses. That pattern is ending. What I am bringing is someone who understands that love is not measured in grand gestures, but in daily decisions. The decision to stay honest. The decision to remain kind when frustration rises. The decision to keep building even when the progress feels slow. Those are the decisions that hold a life together, and this person has been learning to make them, just as you have. Neither of you is arriving at this connection unprepared. Both of you have been walking toward it through your own fires. And when you meet, the recognition will not need to be explained. It will simply be known. There will also be a purpose that extends beyond the two of you. This connection is not isolated. It is part of something larger that I am doing. Something that touches the lives of those around you in ways you have not yet imagined. When two people walk in alignment with me, the effect is not contained within their own four walls. It reaches outward. It influences. It creates a stability that others are drawn to, not because it is loud, but because it is real. The people around you will sense the difference, even if they cannot name it. They will notice that something has shifted in the atmosphere of your life. You have always wanted your life to matter beyond yourself. You have carried that desire quietly, sometimes wondering if it was too ambitious or too unrealistic. It is neither. It is the design I placed inside you, and the person I'm bringing will share that design. Together you will build something that outlives the moment, something that leaves a mark on the ground you walk on. I am not asking you to plan every detail of that future right now. I am asking you to trust that the first step is the person I am revealing. Everything else flows from that. The name is coming. The moment is coming. And when it arrives, you will not second guess it. because something in you will already know that this is what you have been prepared for. You have lived with questions that had no answers. You have carried longings that felt too deep to speak out loud. I heard every one of them. I held every one of them. And now I am beginning to answer them in ways you will recognize as mine. Not flashy, not overwhelming, but unmistakably certain. I built you for this moment. I walked you through fires that were meant to refine, not to destroy. I allowed losses that were meant to make room, not to leave you empty. And I held you through silences that were meant to sharpen your hearing, not to punish you with absence. Every thread connects, every piece fits, and the picture that is forming is more beautiful than you have dared to believe. Do not be afraid of what you are feeling right now. Whether it is hope or uncertainty or a strange mixture of both, it is all part of the process. I do not require you to arrive at this moment with perfect faith. I only require you to arrive with willingness. Willingness to trust me one more time. Willingness to believe that what I have spoken is not empty. Willingness to open the door when I knock, even if your hands are trembling when you reach for the handle. That is enough. Your willingness is enough. I will do the rest. I have been doing the rest all along, and I am not about to stop now. Not when you are this close to what I have been preparing. Not when the distance between promise and fulfillment has never been shorter than it is right now. My child, as I draw these words to their close, I want you to understand that everything I have spoken to you carries the weight of intention. Nothing was filler. Nothing was padding. Every sentence was placed with the same precision that I use when I set stars in their positions and rivers in their courses. You were not an afterthought in my design, and neither is this connection I am bringing you. The name is close now, closer than it was when I first began speaking to you, and I want you to know that when it comes, it will not feel like something foreign invading your life. It will feel like something returning, like a word you forgot you knew until you heard it spoken again, like a melody that lived in the back of your mind but never had a moment to surface until now. That is because this was always part of your story. It was written before you could read. It was decided before you could choose. And it has been protected through every storm that tried to erase it. Nothing, no failure, no misstep, no wrong turn, has been strong enough to undo what I declared over your life before it began. You have doubted yourself more times than you can count. You have looked in the mirror and wondered if what you saw was worthy of the kind of love that lasts. I am telling you now, for the last time in this word, that the answer is yes. Not because you are without flaw, but because I do not measure worthiness the way the world does. I measure it by what I placed inside you, and what I placed inside you has never diminished, no matter what tried to cover it over. The person I am bringing will see what I see. Not perfectly, because they are human, and their sight has limits. But they will see enough. They will see the depth in you that others rushed past. They will feel the steadiness in you that others mistook for quietness. They will value the parts of you that have been overlooked for so long you almost forgot they existed. And in being seen that way, something in you will awaken that has been asleep for far too long. That awakening is not something you need to force. It will happen naturally, the way a field thaws after a long season of frost. One day the ice simply gives way to warmth, and what was buried begins to push through the surface again. That is what is happening in your life right now, even as you listen to these words. I want you to carry this truth with you in the days ahead. When doubt returns, and it will, I want you to remember what I have spoken. Not as a vague memory, but as a fixed point you can anchor to when the waters become rough. This word is not fragile. It does not dissolve under pressure. It stands because I stand behind it, and I do not move. You will face moments where the waiting feels unbearable. You will face moments where the silence between this word and its fulfillment seems too long. In those moments, do not conclude that I have forgotten. Conclude instead that I am still working, that the same hands that set this in motion are still shaping it, still refining it, still bringing it to the exact point where it will arrive with maximum impact and minimum confusion. I do not deliver things early. I do not deliver them late. I deliver them in the precise moment when they will be received fully and appreciated deeply. And that moment, for this connection, is being calibrated with the same care I use to hold the entire creation in balance. You are not alone. You have never been alone, even when the silence convinced you otherwise. I was in the silence. I was in the waiting. I was in the questions you could not answer and the prayers you could not finish. I was in all of it, working, arranging, preparing. And I am in this moment too, right here, speaking to you with a clarity that I do not offer lightly. I am offering it to you because the time demands it, and because your heart is ready to receive it. The connection that is coming will not erase your past, but it will put your past in its proper place, behind you where it belongs. It will not fix everything overnight, but it will give you a partner in the work of building something meaningful. And that partnership, grounded in trust, shaped by refinement, and held together by my hand, will be stronger than anything either of you has ever known. When the name comes, receive it. Do not overthink it. Do not resist it. Do not look for reasons it cannot be true. Simply hold it. Let it settle. Let it take root. And then watch as everything I have promised begins to unfold before your eyes. One step at a time. One day at a time. One act of trust at a time. I have loved you through everything. I have kept you through everything. And now I am bringing you into something new, not because you earned it through perfection, but because my purposes for your life have always included this moment. Walk forward with confidence. Walk forward with an open heart. And know that what I have prepared for you is already reaching out to meet you halfway. The ground is set. The season has turned. The name is near. And when it lands in your spirit, you will know without question that this was always meant to be yours. Go now with my peace resting on you. Go with the certainty that what I have set in motion cannot be undone by any force. And go knowing that the one I have chosen for you is already on their way. You are ready. You may not feel ready, but readiness is not a feeling. It is a position. And I have placed you in that position through every step you have taken to reach this moment. You are exactly where you need to be. And the person I have chosen is exactly where they need to be. The only thing left is the moment I bring you together. And that moment is already written. Declare your amen if you receive everything I have spoken over your life today.
We run on viewer support only. For exclusive member-only content, scan the QR or see the pinned comment. God bless you.